Okay, so hi everyone, and thanks for being involved in another Twine Hangout. My name is Joe Scarf, and I'm the Community and Marketing Manager at Twine, a network that brings creative freelancers together and breaks down geographical boundaries to help them collaborate and find paid work. And I'm lucky to be joined by talented musicians from across the world to discuss today's topic, promoting indie artists, key strategies and techniques. And I'm delighted to say we've got the legendary rap artist Cocaine, King of G-Funk, with us today. He's the most featured artist in the world and has worked with many of the most influential figures in hip-hop, including Cypress Hill, Dr. Dre, Busta Rhymes, Bootsy Collins, Ice Cube, and many more. And he's also the owner of Buddy Boy Entertainment. So it's a great pleasure to have you here, Cocaine. Thanks very much for joining us. And
I appreciate that.
No worries. And we've also got the internationally renowned vocalist, actress, and dancer Cheryl Martinez. She's been tapped by the industry's biggest artists to showcase her talents, and been on music videos such as Beyonce's If I Were a Boy and 50 Cent's Rider Part 2. And has also acted in major Hollywood feature films. She's recently joined Twine and is collaborating with loads of different music producers from around the world. So thank you very much for joining us again, Cheryl.
Thank you for having me.
And then I'd like to welcome back the CEO of Mob Out Entertainment, Bishop, and President Chaz Goodwin. And yeah, we've got some other guys joining us, but won't intro them yet until they join us on the call, but looking forward to having them on board. But today I just wanted to talk about key promotion strategies and techniques for indie artists and get your guys' stories and advice on the best way to get yourself a platform and the network you need to grow your career. So how you go from nothing to having a dedicated following. So first thing I wanted to ask Bishop today is, do you think that internet promotion and social media is overrated, and how much is social media a part of your core strategy for building a following?
No, I don't think it's overrated. I mean, we live in a world full of nothing but technology as it is. I mean, it's a great tool to use, but you should also know that you need to do some groundwork as well. Get out there and meet the people. People aren't going to know who you are because a lot of people don't even use social media. A lot of people, they're just, they're more hands-on. So, me, myself, I started off by pressing CDs and handing them out to people, to get to know my name, make a business card. I use the hell out of social media, excuse my French, but I use that a lot to really expand my horizon and really get to, know more people.
Okay, cool. Cocaine, I mean, I know you've been in this game a long time, and obviously, social media has only been part of the industry for, an incredibly short time. But do you feel that it's overrated? And do you think that there's still a lot to be said for, the older methods of just face-to-face networking, business cards, all that stuff?
I mean, well, it has its pros and cons. It's made it easier to have access at the world from a flick of a button, and at the same time, because of Steve Jobs, it was a lot of things like Tower Records warehouse that was out here, different manufacturing places that used to hold hard copies that are not around no more. So technology is good and bad, but for the most part, I was able to really have access to the world. That's the good thing about technology, is that, from places that we couldn't normally, reach out, now you can reach out at. And that's the good thing about technology, is that You know, this is a technology world, going back to what Bishop said. But at the same time, you still got to have the old-fashioned ways to get out there and network and put paint where it ain't. And it's no different than being, you know, going to run for president, so to speak, like a Democrat or a Republican. You got to get out there and shake hands. It's still an old-fashioned formula to this thing that is more relevant for your career. But you can get a chance to use the technology for what it's worth, to really use it for a worldly platform. But still, you got to get out there, just like Bishop said, and you got to get out there and simply shake hands. This is a business where it's about public relations. And in the community of business, you know, the social network is only one form. But, you know, it's still human beings around, not robots. So we still got to get out there and shake hands. And, you know, places, you know, a platform like this is really good because demographically we get a chance, you know, underground artists get a chance to really see that their music can be heard because it's a big world out there. So I think technology has its pros and cons.
Right, like anything, right? Yeah, you have to make sure you use it in the best way possible. Yeah, exactly. I'd just like to welcome Calvin Venus, professional mixing engineer from Houston, Texas. Hey, and also Hugo from Hugo the Boss Promotions. Thank you so much for joining us, Hugo. It's great to. Oh, he's just left us. Maybe it was my voice. Okay, hopefully he'll join us again in a second. Yeah. So just to carry on in that vein, Shereel, what's your view on the hierarchy of all these different social network sites? I mean,
well, in relation to independent artists, which I believe was like the topic of our, you know, a hangout today, yeah. I think that social media has given them an opportunity to, you know, to have a piece in this music industry. So without social media, you know, I think, you know, it's really, really difficult for independent artists to get seen, to get out there, to get opportunities. But, you know, before social media, it was more about having a street team, having, you know, an in-person street team out there in the streets promoting you, handing out flyers, and just kind of representing you while you're performing and really getting the word out there in person. So I think social media has really helped. A lot of artists have, you know, more opportunities and, you know, to be heard, whereas it was really, really difficult before then for a lot of artists to get heard, you know, the organic way, because in that way it's all about who you know and how much money you have. So I feel like social media is more a way to showcase talent, especially, you know, with YouTube. So I'm very thankful for social media kind of really, really taking over in a big way.
Right. And I think it's interesting how quickly social media's moved. Do you think, Shereel, that now people should be looking to Snapchat, whereas originally they were looking at Facebook and Twitter? Or how do you think people should be structuring their social media strategies?
You know, I'm probably the wrong person to ask that because I'm like forbidding myself to be a part of Snapchat. I really don't know why everybody loves it. Like, nothing is saved. So if you do that work to like create your video, like it's gone in 24 hours, like that kind of annoys me. So I'm really like, I'm so overwhelmed with all the other social media platforms between maintaining like Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. I feel like that's a part-time job in itself. Unless you have, you know, a PR firm handling your social media for you, and it's pretty much a part-time job running all your social media platforms. So to get involved in another one, I really just don't have the time for that right now. But yeah, everyone seems to be loving Snapchat. I think it's really taking off with the whole younger generation. But yeah, maybe other people want to talk about Snapchat.
Well, I wanted to ask Calvin about, because last week, and I think in the number of the Hangouts, one of the core themes for you has been talking about having, you know, really evocative imagery that's going to grab people's attention. And I was just wondering, how do you think that stuff should be structured? I mean, should you put everything out the same on all the different social media with the hope that that will give you the broadest reach, or what's the best way to structure the narrative according to the different channels?
Well, there's horses for courses, right? So, and what I mean by that is, you know, different social media types have different strengths. And Shereel is right. The younger generation has taken on to Snapchat chat because it's impersonal. Sometimes it's kind of, you know, you don't have to save anything. It's you know, they just want to catch up, and it's pretty much a now situation. You watch it now because you know it's going to be gone later, so it has that immediacy. Whereas, you know, other social medias like Facebook have now kind of allowed you to archive and save something so you can check it out later. You know, so I mean, it's funny because I'm an engineer, so what do I know about marketing, right? So I'm saying most of this through my, you know, my former life was, you know, I was a chief analytics officer for a company, so I was part doing sales and you know, and marketing as well. So I had a bit of a hybrid role. It's kind of helped me in my business now, which is recording, mixing, and mastering. And you know, I try not to do the same thing for all different areas because I feel that you know, my personal Facebook page, for example, is full of friends and family and acquaintances. You know, I don't want them bombarded by everything that I do. You know, those who are really interested in me and know me in a particular realm, which is music production, I'm going to be more interested in my Facebook page. That one I might bombard a bit more. My LinkedIn is slightly different to, say, you know, my Instagram. You know, things like that. You know, so I could still maintain the narrative, but I'll probably approach it differently in different ways. And I think you kind of have to almost, you know, you can't say the same thing everywhere you go, I think, because some people adopt certain different types of social medias because of its strength. You can write longer pieces inside Facebook and Twitter than you can definitely with, you know, Instagram. It makes me laugh when I see, like, Instagram and someone puts, like, a long, big comment, you know, no one reads it. You're not on Instagram to read, are you? So,
right.
Yeah, why do it? And also, you know, Instagram are very good, or maybe bad, depending on how you look at it, but not allowing you to click on links because they don't want you to move outside of Instagram. You could do that on Twitter. Twitter, you can have so many links and hashtags that will take you left, right, center. So you kind of have to watch how it goes. And I know that Facebook are trying to really do the hashtag LinkedIn, hashtag and hyperlink thing. But again, you know, when you're going through your newsreel, you saved a lot of stuff. You're seeing a lot of things that you're following. I wonder how, you know, how that works out for Facebook. I don't remember or don't recall in my Facebook habits of going, you know, just meandering based on a hashtag, just seeing what else other people are using this hashtag for.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's a long answer, but that's
yeah, it's interesting. Cocaine, I wanted to ask in terms of Buddy Boy, because, you know, you guys have got a really interesting setup, and one I found really inspiring in the way that you give power back to the artists and, you know, allow them a bit more free reign over their artistic autonomy. And I was just wondering, could you just explain a bit more about how Buddy Boy's set up and how that then translates into, you know, how the artists manage their social presence and promote themselves?
Well, you know, I learned it well in the music industry. You know, me being in the record business, making professional records for 26 years, and learning from a dear friend of mine who had passed of AIDS. His name was Eric Wright. That was my mentor. And he showed us at the same time, long before, you know, the computer came around, how independence is of the uttermost importance. You know, he didn't really compromise his integrity, you know, about who he was, and that same reflection of Eric Wright, you know, rubbed off on everybody from Ice Cube to myself to Dr. Dre and the Tree, and the list goes on. So having independence is very important, because he was like our Russell Simmons to the West Coast at that time. And you know, when I created my company, I wanted to really make it congruent to what Eazy-E was running his stuff at. And you know, the transformation from you know, the evolution of technology and how it played a major role was very key in me broadening my demographics, because now you know, it became independent. And you know, crazy that you had companies like MCA filing Chapter 7 out here. You know what I'm saying? So, and bankruptcy, and it really reduced it down to the palm of the hand. Mr. Steve Jobs did. Thank him for that.
I like it.
And when I started my company, Buddy Boy Entertainment, it's rough the first 2 years, because you have to build up a social platform. I don't care if you're flipping burgers, or if you're a stockbroker, or if you're doing music, or anything. It's about numbers. This is a mathematics game, and the more numbers that you're able to go ahead and create and invest into the social platform, eventually it will broaden out your brand, because it's about branding. It's about building up brands now. And independent, you know, back in the days, you know, they were only getting so many cents a record. Now they don't have to go ahead and do that. They can get $4 or $5 a pop a record. So for the independent, it was the birth through technology, through independent, and you know, it allowed me, you know, 6 or 7 years later to build up millions and millions of people, you know, from a social standpoint, and it became more easier to get to the world. So, you know, as far as the social network is concerned with my company, it did wonders for my analytics, you know, but at the same time, still had to use the old-fashioned format. Because if you're going to be the president of your own destiny, you got to still get out there and shake hands, you know. So, but at the same time, it works so beautiful in really overcoming the politics. That's what I like about technology, is that when you take your time and be patient, you know, you got to realize now there's no such thing as A&Rs in the music industry no more. Nowadays, you got to get out there and wear several hats. But being that said, it's nothing like having the autonomy for your hard work and creativity that you get to have now. When you look at brothers like Michael Jackson, you look at brothers like Prince, you know, they kind of like pre-paved the way for us how to get back in control and bring it to the artist's hands again. It's just so sad that they had an untimely death, but even learning on a whim on what they have done is very crucial to use technology nowadays, so you don't have to succumb to a lot of political things that are really raping the independent artists back in the days. Well, now's the opportunity to use this technology, and thank God via the, you know, we on the Hangout, and talking to our brother right here, we get a chance to now cut through the politics and reach the world. So it did wonders for my company, Buddy Boy Entertainment. We got 1.1 million on the Twitter follower. You know, for my team, we touching over 12 million people. But that took five years to really build up the social platform. But it helped me out so much, because, you know, it's so beautiful now. It's time I put out a record and the flick of a button, my analytics is really hopping up. So I would say to any independent artists out there, really maximize the technology, so that way you can protect your art and overcome politics and don't have to compromise yourself like we used to have back to in the old days. Plain and simple.
That's fantastic advice. Thank you. Brilliant. Yeah. And just asking you there about, you know, people watching this, I'm sure, would be amazed to hear, growth from, nothing to millions of followers on social. I mean, that's, for many artists, that's the holy grail. Could you tell us, what were the key tactics you used to get that following? I mean, obviously you've got a platform anyway through the work you've done and your experience and the talents you have as an artist. But are there any key tactics you use that you could let people know that could help them really explode their social channels?
Well, you just got to stick at it. You got to have that stick at it attitude. It's just like, even though I was on platinum records and all that, that was during that moment, when it was mostly albums and CDs and tape. Well, that's like, the tapes are archaic nowadays. This is the technology. So I had to have the right attitude and right approach towards starting over. It's like relearning how to ride a bike again. So my attitude towards it was being a student. Even though I've been on millions of records, I had to become a student again. So I had a fresh piece of chalk to able to write on a new chalkboard. So that's what I did. I stuck hours and hours, me and my wife and my team. You gotta pretend like you're in college, and if you really want your doctorate degree, takes on this social network and have countless hours to really build up your platform. And that's what I told you. At the first 2 years, it was rough because I caught myself 12 to 13 hours a day on the social work.
Wow.
Now, I went and hired different other people, but it's nothing like doing it yourself, because you know how you need to promote your brand. And I didn't want to just give it away like that, because I wanted to use the social network, because now by using the social network I can move efficiently. It's about efficiency. So, but at the same time, the first year, I would suggest you just stay on the social network, invest, find out certain ways that you can hype up your whole thing, not getting, it's about investing into the social platform. That's what I did the first 2 years, really invest, but I really stayed at it. You have to have the right attitude. You got to remember, this is an information age, technology age. So you got kids, it's kind of like, I say in a funny way, kind of like a sperm cell trying to get to the egg. All of them really don't. So it's just like, I had to have that attitude like a youngster. Like, I'm finna stay on this and eat and drink and sleep and whatever it is to make sure that I'm visible as far as my brand. So I would suggest to the world, or any independent artist, to really, you got to like treat this, if you're serious about really broadening your brand, you really got to treat the social network like the Bible.
Right.
You got to stay at it. You got to stay on it. And once you stay on it, you'll notice you start off at a mission statement, but then you'll really start to see predictions really work in your favor. And that's what happened. It was rough. You know what I'm saying? Because you got this and that and trying to learn this aspect of different social platforms. But in the end, I look back 5-6 years later, it was so much worth it. Just staying at it and building up acquaintance and constituents. So it might get tough, but if you're really serious about making the NBA playoffs, you're going to work your butt off on this social network to build your brand.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. So it's the key, like everything, is dedication. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, you got to be loyal like royalty. You got to stay on it, because everybody ain't built for this. They get on the computer and be like, man, I don't want to do this bull crap. But that's why I said you got to have the right attitude to really stay on it and set a goal. Don't rush nothing. You might not understand certain things, but if you continue to work it out, you'll find your way through everything that you need on the social network. And that's what it is. You just got to have that stick with it attitude.
Right. Awesome. Sherrill, you mentioned, last week we spoke a bit about the EDM scene. You were saying that you feel that vocalists need to, take a stand and get the credit they deserve. How do you think they can get that message across best through social media? What kind of narrative do they need to be getting together to get their point across and actually make a difference?
I mean, with social media, I think there's a couple key things that you need to do. Joaquin said some really great things about like motivational aspects and techniques. It's really about how much you care, is what you're going to put in. So if you really, really, really want this, you're going to put in the work. If you don't really, 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 really want it, then you're going to put in B work or C work. So it's really how bad these vocalists want to get themselves out there and their name out there and get heard is really the effort that they're going to put behind it. That again is if they don't have the financial backing behind it. But a couple simple tactics would be, number one, make sure your content is interesting and unique. If it doesn't matter how great of like promotional techniques you have if your content isn't good enough to want to keep people interested. I also think that posting different things on different platforms will help gain your same followers to go and follow you on all of the platforms. If you're posting the same thing to Facebook as you are to Twitter, as you are to Instagram, then why is someone going to follow you on all of those platforms? They might as well just follow you on one. So definitely, doing different things for different platforms. Maybe on Twitter, start more of a conversation. Post some type of controversial, question that gets people talking, and that's how you get more interaction on your page. It's not so much about just saying, oh, look at me here or look at me there. It's more about getting people talking and interacting with you and interested, and you actually showing that you're reading what they're saying and communicating with them and getting a conversation going. If people are commenting on your content, but you don't actually comment back, then where's the incentive for them to come back and try to talk to you again on your platform? Also you can use social media to now go and get some type of presence or get yourself noticed by other people that you are interested in working with or people that inspire you, and try to get them to to notice you by you going and interacting on their pages. So there are ways to do it. You just really need to be willing to put in the time and effort, and if you care enough, you will. And it's all about making it happen. I mean, nobody's going to do for you what you can do for you, no matter how much you pay them. So it's really about just having that hustle mentality and not giving up and doing what you got to do to get there. And then once you got it flowing, you won't have to do that stuff anymore because you can pay people to do it. But initially, you need to put in that effort, especially for independent artists. Social media is giving you a platform to go and get yourself out there. Use it. Yeah, you have to put in the dirty work in the beginning, but it will pay off if you really put in that work.
Right.
So,
exactly. Yeah. I think one of the key things there is, I read a book a while ago called Do Things That Don't Scale, and I think this is a key part of what you were saying there, that engaging with your fans and properly interacting with them is not something you can do with 10 million people, but you can't get to the 10 million without doing those things that don't scale in the first place, and that's the common mistake that people make. And I just wanted to speak to Bishop about your approach, because one of the things I find most impressive about your social media strategy is the fact that, whenever you open up the computer lid, like Bishop's name's there, like you're always on it, like always present. And I just wanted to ask, like, for you, being that determined and consistent, what has that brought you in the time you've been using that approach? And what stories and advice do you have on that approach now that you've been doing it for quite some time?
Well, the reason why you see me everywhere is because this is a passion for me. This isn't it's just a hobby, and I believe in you have to stand behind your product and stand behind yourself more before anybody else will. If they don't see you pushing yourself and constantly out there, then why would anybody else want to be right behind you and helping you reach other outlets? Now, I've been doing this for a while now, but I used to be in the shadows because I was kind of not sure how people would take me when I first came into the industry. And with me believing in myself, people are starting to believe in me as well. So I'm doing more features, and I'm being here at meet and greets, and people are inviting me to come to their state to perform and all these other things. It's only because they see my determination and my drive. So that's the only thing that I tell a lot of guys. I'm like, it's cool to pay for some promotion, but at the same time, people want to see you stand behind what you believe in more than having somebody else do it for you.
Right.
Right.
So it's all about confidence as an artist, and it's about making sure you've got momentum so people can get behind that.
Exactly, exactly. And I don't just push just myself. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm involved with, and the reason why I'm involved with so many different things is because the people see how motivated I am when it comes to what I'm doing. So like this energy drink Oso, I'm going to be having to sit down with them on Sunday, and that's another thing. That's why I've just put it out there a little bit here and there, but they've seen that me and the team, we have a hell of a social presence that, of course, they would want us to help promote their brand. It's all about marketing and branding, people. If you can't market and brand yourself, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Right, but I suppose also everyone has to start somewhere, right, and learn the lessons and make mistakes, and it's you've just got to do it. But going back to an earlier point, Calvin, you were making, I thought it was interesting. You said, I'm not a marketer, I'm an engineer, but surely these days everyone in the industry needs to market themselves. If you want to be a freelancer and you want to make it work and you want to get the business going and the clients in, you've got to be on it with the promotion, right? Do you think that you weren't saying surely that it's not important for freelancers if they're not, directly a limited company, that they don't need to bother with this stuff?
Oh no, I'm certainly not saying that. Without a doubt, each individual here is pretty much their own business, their own brand, and we have several departments, several hats that we take care of. That's the finance department. That's the business of the production. So that's your product, whether we're vocalists or engineers, producers. And then we also have to take care of the brand itself and get it out there. So we're also marketers. And, social media and online tools help us with that now. So it enables us, it gives us the power to be effectively three hats in one in today's age. I use social media as a chance to put breadcrumbs out there. So my drive is a little bit different, but I share the same passion. The people that take on my business, they don't want me constantly on social media, especially this week. If they know that I was on social media and not getting these albums done, then they'll be like, Cal, man, where's the product? So for me, it's just it's like fishing for me. I don't want to be inundated, but I need to be present. So I use it the same sort of way, and I invite people to conversation. Thankfully, my conversation is via email, and people do find my telephone number, and it's out there, just not out there. So yeah, I'm exactly the same way. So my comment earlier isn't to sort of say I'm an engineer now. My marketing days are over. No, I use everything that I've learned over the years into what I do now, and it's helped me to be more efficient. There are many engineers, though, however, that don't do what you guys are doing, and they should. If those who are listening to this should, if they're have anything to share with anybody else and want to move into the freelance world full time, and move it from a hobby, maybe, whether you're a bedroom DJ to producer or vocalist or engineer, videographer, photographers, the principle's the same. You have to showcase your work, talk about your work, talk about other people's work, and connect. I like to connect with artists on an emotional level, in the sense that their brand is their baby, and I want to be responsible with your baby. So if you're gonna hand me your work, I want to be just as nurturing and as caring as you are. So that's my narrative. That's how I talk. And
right.
Cool. Yeah.
Chaz, in terms of A&R, how much does it matter that whether an artist is good at social media? Does a label really care, or do they feel like this guy's got good raw materials, he makes great tracks, we can do the rest? Or are they looking at it as he's already got, they need to show they've already got a presence, so we've got some investment material here that we can work with?
Actually, it's the second one, as far as for what I've seen, or the people that I know and I've dealt with. The biggest thing is, I guess, is some of the people that sell Twitter followers, Facebook followers, and stuff like that. I was talking to a promoter up in New York, which said, yeah, I got an artist here that has like 50,000 followers, and their first question was, well, any of those 50,000 people will come to their concert. Boom. Okay. So of course, when I asked the artist that, they said they bought that, and I'm going like, whoops, okay, there goes your chances there. So the big deal on that, yes, as far as what I'm seeing, the labels do look at how many people you have behind you, how well you present yourself. They look at your YouTube videos. If you do, I see Bishop do a few of these too, and a few other artists. They do like individual little things that, they're not, I'm in the studio, I'm doing this here, working on a new beat and there's some music playing behind them. People have to sort of be able to, I guess, get a picture of you, how you carry yourself, how you speak, and then you get more followers on that line. As far as me, I stayed in the background until here lately. Bishop sort of bringing me out of the closet, so to speak, getting out there a little more and presenting myself more to the people. Because at first I was just basically sitting behind my computer, sending emails out, tweets, Facebook posts. I'm on about 26 different social media sites, and just keeping those updated. And that's sort of brought people in slowly, but like I said, you gotta produce work, you gotta show CDs, you gotta do little videos here and there, you gotta do a chat. If you do, what do they call that? I can't think right now, but anyway, when you go visit hospitals, see people that are sick, stand out on the street and talk to people, pass out a couple business cards, hand out a couple free CDs. Do a couple benefits, stuff like that, and people seem to be drawn to you then. Now they know you're not playing, you're not out here just for your ego, you're actually putting out a decent product, and they're starting to like you now, even if they didn't like you before.
Yeah, exactly. I think that moves nicely into an area I wanted to touch briefly on. I want to ask Cocaine, in terms of where the industry's moved, I think there are a lot of horror stories with labels and the way that it's sadly seen now that basically when an artist gets signed, it's basically a loan that they had to pay back before they even make 1 cent from their own music. And there are stories like TLC, they sold 65 million records, but then had to file for bankruptcy because they're only making 15 grand. I mean, these terrible stories. And I just wanted to ask you, what do you think the industry needs to do in terms of promoting itself to keep itself afloat in this day of streaming, etc., and still keep its authenticity? And also, how can rap and hip-hop in general still have that confidence about itself without producing artists that have this sense of self-entitlement? I think that just because they've been told by their group that they're the best in the business, that they're just spreading that over all of their channels and just rubbing everyone up the wrong way. How can the industry and people behind promotion of artists portray hip hop in general in a better light?
Well, first of all, I'm just going to be brutally honest. It's a capitalist industry that we in. I've been going there for a long time, back in the Motown days, man. Where you would have attorneys that listen to yada yada music that never did really care first place. All they care about is numbers, because this is a numbers game. And the thing that I see, the beauty that comes out of this is that it's really back into from whence hip hop first started off, with Russell Simmons doing Crush Groove. They had to get out there and go to block parties, get out there and really put this in front of people's face. So it's really using the same type of format for technology. This is an information age to where you have to have visuals. That's very important. And before the visuals come out, I would suggest you do a long research, and this is for all independent artists. Do research first. You know what I'm saying? Compare different things. Like, it's not enough just having social presence without having good material first. You gotta have good material. And what distinguishes you from good material, I don't know. But you have to use your own personal judgment and go from there. And once you have something that you believe inside your heart that is good for the world, you just gotta stick to one thing at a time. So many artists try to get into, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. No, the key to building and progression is do things one at a time. So therefore, don't think about be all over here without first coming up with some good materials. So that's the first thing established. As far as the industry is concerned, the people that are in the corporate positions are really scrounging around because, the way technology had moved it back from people that were greedy in the corporate lane to coming back to the independent. So that's why I'm happy for technology that's involved itself into the music industry. Now, the up and down of streaming is crazy because, we're going to have to do something about streaming, and that's why I'm glad we have a service like Twine to really, it cuts through some of the political things and being able to hear things, from artists and people that have been in the game like ourselves, to be able to give the type of wisdom to the independent artists. That's everything. A lot of the times the independent artists don't have nowhere to go because they don't have one simple thing. They don't have wisdom. You need wisdom in order to grow your brand and make a move and go the right direction. So in a nutshell, if platforms like this, which is very brilliant, this is a perfect opportunity for artists that don't normally can't know the certain wisdom to overcome politics. It's very imperative that you tap into the social network, but then by doing research, you got to just simply sit down and look at it from an aspect of setting goals like, I need to learn how to protect myself, how to market, to be able to be effective on the social platforms that affect my personal analytics, because eventually it's about doing analytics. And the good news about the independent is that now they don't have to be like Michael Jackson taking so many cents on a record. Now it's coming back to the point to where you can spend money efficiently as possible, and you can have a minimum of record sales to get to big results, because a lot of the artists that are signed to big major record labels out there, it might look good, but those people, man, they get like $5 or $1 million and don't sell the type of substantial records back. They're not only in the hole, but then they're caught up. So you gotta ask yourself, am I in the business to make money or I'm in the business to just look good. And my thing is, looking good is trying to really be successful at this business. And that's the whole thing of us being on the line, is that, hey, first of all, we got a passion about doing music, but now that it's back to the independent, it's about being an optimist. It's about saying I can actually have my work being able to be successful without worrying about big record companies have to give me so much for my hard work and then hold my ownership, and you don't get nothing. So the good about the independent is in technology is that it really go hand in hand, because now when you sell the type of records that you need and you build up the type of numbers that you need on your mathematics on your social platform, if you decide to go optional with dealing with big record labels, the whole conversation is going to be different. And that's what you want to work yourself up to eventually, to have options. This game is about, because it's levels to this game, and you got to have options. And for them to be able to, for you to get the type of respect that you want, you just simply have to do research, build from one brick, make sure your brand and product is very exciting, just like the young lady was speaking. You know what you got to think, who is going to spend money on you? They're not just going to spend money nowadays on something that is boring. You know, you got to have excitement to your whole movement. And then when that type of attitude is perpetuated out there, man, people gonna want to love to mess with you, because bottom line, people love to be entertained. People love excitement. But then at the same time, if people see that you're handling your business, you know, that's going to be another dimension and another conversation for you. So, you know, as far as the corporate situation is concerned, you know, that's good that they're getting sniffed to a certain way, because we need to take back our culture, you know, because hip-hop, music, art, graphics, whatever it is, it really belongs to the people. About platform Twine is going right back to the people and overcoming politics.
Right. Brilliant. Thank you. Fantastic. I think to just move on from that, just talk about politics. I just wanted to just briefly just you know, talk about what it's like, Cocaine, when you've got, you know, a platform like you have. You know, when you're bringing artists into Buddy Boy Entertainment, when you're doing features, when you're collaborating, how conscious are you of how other artists are appearing on your brand, and what recommendation would you have for artists who have a platform in terms of, you know, not getting too paranoid about you know, every step they make in terms of progressing in their career?
Well, you know, over here at Buddy Boy Entertainment, I want to make sure, you know, tradition is not in even in the our realm. And what I mean by that is this: traditionally, you sign an artist, and then the artist is there, you give them a budget, and that's tradition. But when technology is involved in this new way of promoting and marketing your stuff, you know, I vouched, you know, to make artists into potential bosses. You know what I'm saying? Because that way, when they start their subsidiaries, they'll come back to the Mecca. And it's not about creating just artists. It's about creating walking brands that when you're in the Mecca, they can create subsidiaries. They can create subsidiaries, come back to the Mecca.
Right.
Is to learn, not just to being an artist is not, you got to do much more than be an artist, and you can. And that's what the good thing about you know, over here I can say for my company is that I want everybody to have their own identity. You know, I don't want nobody to sound like me and I sound like somebody else. First of all, you got to have your own identity. And if you're able to have that uniqueness about yourself, it still goes back to the same origin of business. You might do EDM, I might could do gangster rap, that person might do classical music, but it still go back to the same format, is making sure that your identity is special and unique, and at the same time learning the wisdom it takes to market, promote, and that's just not enough. You got to learn when to put out your music, when not to put out your music, and all these things is simply doing research. You know, so I encourage each and every one of my artists, before they even put down anything on the microphone, is, do you know how to promote your stuff? Do you know how to market your stuff? So if I gave them the basic instructions, you know, it sets them out on a whole different frame of mind as we planting the seeds for each and every individual artist for their career. So the whole thing, to sum it up, is that nowadays artists got to have that executive mind state. It's just we can't, you know, you can't, it's not enough just to sign artists. You know, that was the old days. These are technology days. You know, you don't hardly see cassette tapes around no more. They're archaic. So you gotta be able to go ahead and evolve. That's the whole thing about it. Evolve. And on Buddy Boy Entertainment, I want each and every artist to evolve, not traditionally be an artist that in my humble opinion, certain things traditionally ain't around no more because technology done changed that.
Right. I think, yeah, that was a brilliant summary. I just wanted to finally, just to branch out from that, talk about strategy and timing. And I just wanted to ask, Shereel, I've seen on your website, you know, you've got merchandise, you've got fan club, etc. Could you just tell us at what point did you launch each of those aspects of your brand and the business, and you know how each part sort of propelled you forwards?
You're right. You know, strategy is a really, really, really important part of your whole marketing technique. You should definitely come up with some type of strategic plan about how you're going to, you know, go after your social media and what's the best way to grow it. You know, some people say, you know, if you post at the same time every single day, that's good because then people will know when to come back and check your page, and they'll know, oh, you know, XYZ artist is going to have something new posted tomorrow at this time because they always post at the same time every day. So that helps a lot too. I've noticed. I would definitely recommend posting something on your social media platforms at least once a day. If you don't, then you'll kind of lose that whole interaction of people constantly coming back. I definitely also recommend putting like some type of either Twitter or Facebook widget onto your website, which is something that I did. So it constantly keeps content always being updated on my website, because whenever I post something on Facebook, I have my Facebook page widget there. They can see exactly what I posted, what I wrote, and they could click on it, and it'll bring them straight to Facebook. So it's always every day I post something on social media, so it automatically posts to my website. So if people are coming back to my website, it's just constantly keeping traffic coming to your website. So as far as all the other aspects of what I added, you talked about the fan club section and the merchandise section. It was really just growth over time. I graduated college 10 years ago, and that's when I started pursuing music professionally. So my website has gone through a lot of different stages in the past 10 years as far as what I started out having on there and everything that it has on it now. You can't just throw everything at everyone all at once. You need to do a little bit at a time. So once you get this one project or aspect out and promoted, then you move on to the next one. If you give them too much at once, then no one specific specific thing can really blow up or get its moment. So I definitely would recommend, you know, coming up with a strategic plan on what you're going to put out, when you're going to put it out, how you're going to promote it, and for how long you're going to promote it. And then once you reach your goals, you can move on to the next part of your plan. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I was just wondering also, Shereel, do you think that this whole idea of overnight success is a bit of a myth, and do you think it's a destructive myth?
I don't really think there's overnight success. I think that nobody really knows anybody's story. You don't know what they've had to go through to get to where they are today. You see, you know, someone pop up, oh, this person became famous overnight, but do you know them? Do you know them personally? You know that that's how they got there? Like, no, like everyone has a story, and you know, I think you need to just respect and try to find out, you know, where people have come from, use that as inspiration, and try to, you know, add that to help boost your career. But yeah, everyone has a story.
Right. Yeah. And that's something I wanted
to
talk about in terms of education. Something I found as a music student was that, you know, I was getting a lot of great tuition in terms of my instrument and in terms of learning how to produce and mix, and you know, that side was great, and no complaints on that side. But I feel like in terms of promotion and in terms of actually setting me up as a freelance artist, it was something I had to go away and then learn myself, which seemed crazy because it's, you know, two parts of a you know, it's like the missing piece of the puzzle, and you get out and you suddenly realize, you know, you've got the tools, but you've got no way to actually get people to hear what you can do. I just want to ask Calvin, you know, why do you think education's been so slow to catch up on the whole promotion game?
Man, I'm glad you asked me this question. Yeah, the same as Joe here. Yeah, I studied music production in 2 places in London, and you're right, man. Like this, they prep you up, and you learn your craft, and you get in deep. You meet other people. It's also, you know, so you feel like you can get out there in the big wide world and start working, but you know deep down that you still have gray areas of how am I going to survive doing this? Like where do I go first? You know, how you know. No, I hadn't done marketing when I graduated. You know, I had to learn that through side jobs. You know, never get ahead of people. You know, I wish that colleges and all, you know, every level of the education system will, you know, enable students to learn more about the business side of things. Now we did do business, but it wasn't specific. It wasn't, okay, so you know, you're in your senior year, you're learning this craft. Have you figured out how you actually going to maintain your life in this craft, so to speak?
Right.
I mean, even some of the lecturers were also considering teaching as a side job. So it wasn't a great advert. Particularly between 2004 and 2007, I know that music production was one of the most popular courses that more and more colleges were doing it, or unis as we call it. And here in Texas specifically, you know, I've been tempted to teach it. I teach it at high school, but I've been tempted to teach it at college level because there's so many openings popping up. But it's a little daunting. I speak to a lot of musicians who do fine arts a lot, and they're all in the same position. They even ask me, how do I become a freelancer? It's like, well, you know what? I'm still figuring it out myself. But one principle remains true. To be in business, you have to be in business.
Right.
It sounds weird, what I just said, but you really, really have to be out there. Your social media strategy, you want to know what works? Try it. Just go out there and do it. You know, especially if you're just starting out. Nobody knows you. You know, if you come into the game with a legacy like Cocaine had, yeah, now he can seize control of something that somebody used to do, and then now control it and shape it the way it needs to go. And then, you know, as he's out there, he's finding new people, yet maintaining the legacy and, you know, from the past, you know, and now he's just marrying that with social media. So it's great to hear, folks, if you're listening, it's great to hear an established individual also saying that he's learning something new. We all learn something new here. We keep our ears open for new ideas. I haven't got a Facebook widget on my website, so just moments ago I just put it on mute. Facebook widget on the Google search. I'll come back to that later. I'm learning from you guys as well, and if you're not in the business of learning, man, I'm telling you,
You're in the wrong business.
You're in business. I mean, Richard Branson, the best person we can think of, the guy who owns the Virgin brand. One thing he said just made me think, ding. He always, if he doesn't know and understand something, he'll find somebody to latch on to that will help him build his craft. We can kind of do that. I mean, we're not in the business of employing individuals. Not me yet. I do have interns. But I am in the business of employing ideas. So if I don't understand something, I do a lot of mastering. I still learn from the best of them. I will never stop learning. If I stop learning, I will sink. I won't be catching up with the times, and I won't be doing what's interesting for those who want to know. And I think there are people who are interested in some of the things that I'm saying. So I have to get into the business of documenting that, because I have to share that, and that will hopefully in turn build up my profile. So I think that's a good business for everyone, whether you're established or not.
Exactly.
You're always in the business of learning. Yeah. Even when you're learning your craft in college or university, hey, even those who ask me, hey, shall I go into production school? I'm going to ask you, why are you going to spend all that kind of money if you're already making beats now?
Yeah, that's the question I wanted to finish up with. And I just wanted to ask each of you, actually, just go in turn and just get your view on formal education and where you think it fits now in the music industry. So I just want to start, Bishop, what's your view on that? I mean, do you think it's important or necessary to go to school and learn this stuff, or do you think you can just learn it, just getting yourself out there?
I'm 50-50 on that. I mean, it is good to learn some, at least on the marketing aspect of it when it comes to the business, but there's no better teacher than actually going out there and learning trials and tribulations on your own. You'll know what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you need to fix. I mean, you didn't go to school for any of this at all. It was me learning, absorbing, having people around me that were in the business and asking questions. And with all those questions that were answered, I took that, ran with it, and doing what I do now.
Right. So to summarize on that, you feel like there is a place for it, but you don't feel like it's necessary.
It is, but I mean, to each his own, honestly. I mean, I can't just tell you, it's a waste of time going to school. The best way to learn is being in the streets. But
I'm not trying to get that.
I mean, I'm not gonna just be like, no, just get out here and just figure it out. No, I mean, it's 50-50. You should have some kind of idea of what you're doing before you jump into the wolf den, and then think you're gonna survive. So.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good analogy. How about Chaz? What's your view on this? Where do you think formal education fits in terms of developing artists for the music industry?
From what I've been introduced to, basically, yes, you should have some type of formal education, because Calvin will probably agree on this. If you're a musician, someone goes, okay, this is in C. If you're a singer, if you had no type of singing, classes on singing or learn how to sing, you're not going to have an idea what C is until somebody plays it. And then you have to harmonize to get there. And as far as music as well too, I know a whole lot of people that they can put beats down, but as far as you go like, okay, man, I like that, and take it one step up, and they're looking at you like you just had a baby. So I mean, but some of that you going out and getting it on your own too. That's great too, because now you're getting active learning. Like Bishop said, you're around some people that knows what's going on. Ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more you're going to be familiar with what you're doing, and you're going to make less mistakes. But I do feel that you should have some type of education music-wise. You know, sit down with somebody that plays guitar. You know, ask them questions. You know, if you go to church, the pianist, ask them some questions, or somebody that sings in the choir or whatever. You know, ask them questions and just get a better idea of what you're doing instead of jumping out there and being, you know, spastic. And the next thing you know, you're wondering why everybody is not listening to you.
Right. Sharia, what's your opinion on this? I suppose what I was trying to get at is obviously formal education is a big financial investment. It's a big investment of time. I was just wondering where you think it fits in terms of an artist developing themselves to be a professional musician.
Yeah, when it comes to artist development, I think it's really like a personal question. I don't really think there's one universal answer to that question. I think that, you know, how you learn and grow and evolve may be different than how I learn and grow and evolve. And, you know, for me, yeah, like I went to college, but part of me feels like, oh, if I had those extra 4 years to go and be in the studio and like work, maybe I would be younger right now. And, you know, because, you know, for a singer, it's important that you're like super young and hot forever. And, you know, so age, you know, so part of me is like, yes, I'm so thankful I have a degree, but I'm also, you know, very back and forth about it because I wish I had those years pushing my music career, like, in Manhattan, like the way I did the second I graduated. So it's a tough question, but hey, if you get a free ride to some top music school like Juilliard or something, hell yeah, go there and reap all the benefits you can. I mean, if you go to certain schools, maybe there are certain connections and networking capabilities that can come from being at those really, really great, you know, music schools. But, you know, also it's really about being hands-on. Some people learn best when they're hands-on. But for vocalists, you should always be learning and training and taking lessons and working on your voice. I don't think there's ever an end to learning and what you can do. As an artist, we can always grow, we can always evolve, we can always be better, and we can always learn something new. So learning is ongoing for the music industry, I think.
Right.
I think you have to know the path. I mean, it's weird because when I was DJing pretty much straight out of, when I was 17, and I really wanted to be Quincy Jones. Like, that was my aim. I want to be Quincy Jones. Like, I just saw he was like the top of, he was like the pinnacle, and he was considered the grandfather of everything that he was involved in. And that's kind of what I wanted to do initially. So my path was literally this. Don't go straight to college. Go find work, because I believe you can't knock the hustle. And funny enough, you know, even at the age of 17, 18, when I was, you know, my DJ career was kicking off, I was realizing that, you know, I looked at the music of the day, so it was like a lot of hip hop. This is before dubstep, because I was from Croydon, where dubstep really kicked off. There were a lot of guys doing like jungle and drum and bass and stuff like that, garage, as you say over here in the US, garage as we say it in the UK, and you know. And like all those sounds originate from people who have no degrees. So that's why I say 50-50. I'm with, you know, I'm with Chaz on this. I'm with, you know, Bishop on this. I'm even with Cheryl with this. You know, like it's a vehicle. Education should be just looked at as a vehicle. It shouldn't be the means and ends too. You know, you can't expect to just. I've got my degree. You know, I gotta say. Like Kanye West, those degrees, like, you know, what does it mean? Like, so, I mean, I don't flash my degree around. I don't even, for me, you know, it's great to nerd out on something and just dive into your craft. And, you know, if I was a singer, you know, I want to find some of the best, you know, vocal trainers and just get better in my you know, technically I kind of do. No, I'm not a vocalist, but I have, you know, professional mastering engineers are just pouring into me, and I'm constantly learning, even though I've graduated some time ago. That's my daughter just woke up, but I'm still trying to build up to where you know, I'm all right. Quincy Jones may be out of my reach now. You know, I'm matured a bit, but I'm definitely. So is she.
Cool. I think it's a good moment. I just want to ask Cocaine. You know, What's your view on this? Why do you think schools have been so slow to get on teaching people how to promote well? And where do you think schools fit into developing artists for the music industry?
Well, I mean, we are our own teachers right now. We in school right now, to tell you the truth.
That's it.
Yep.
Uh, like certain traditions out there are stuck on stupid and really reluctant to evolve. But then that's kind of good for us because this Twine situation is school. If you really think about it, we don't have to wait for them to mandate and put it in the schools all over the world when we got our own modern day school right here on Twine.
Yeah.
So going back to the education part of promotion and marketing, I would say just as gathering up wisdom to understand, control your destiny, promote equal. You got to have the right attitude. You got to have the right attitude, and you can't be afraid to fail.
Right.
And the reason why I say
That's it.
afraid to fail, you can't be afraid to fail. That's going to teach you if you really are built for this type of industry, because this is one of the brutal industries out there. I can speak,
Yep.
you know, specifically for the music, but the thing. Anything. It's like everybody that's in the NBA, you got thousands and thousands of players, but be brutally honest, half of them ain't gonna make it. So if you the one who feel that you got something at it, just as equally as gathering the wisdom, I think having the right attitude will lead you to the wisdom, because you can't be afraid to fail. You know, I have failed so many times. I'm talking about countless times. I mean, I've been over 60 million records sold. I've been on more features than anybody in the history of the business out of any genres of music. But still, when it came to this new technology, I was back at square one again. So I had to have the right attitude. I didn't have this narcissistic attitude that I'm too good to get on the computer. I'm too good. No, I had to really take the computer and technology and the evolution of this technology and be compatible to it by being humble and having the right attitude. And once I did, things start coming to me because of my attitude. Wisdom starts. So everybody ain't gonna listen to it. Like I said, it's like a sperm cell trying to get to the mentality that, hey, first of all, everything, all I got is this vision and how you view yourself. It's something that's going to spark in your brain and give you the type of motivation, because in this brutal game, you have to have confidence and motivation to be able to really overcome the unnecessary blockage, political stuff, people hating on this particular guy. The right attitude, you look straight ahead, is going to allow your focus to manifest the wisdom that you need. So I would say, first, right attitude. You're not going to rush yourself in the process, because it's a process. And the one thing that I say to everybody, by having the right attitude, you will be able to embrace the patient side of this process, because you got to be unbelievable patient. If you're not patient for this game, I advise any independent artist or anybody, do not give up your day job, or you will be frustrated.
Right.
You do not have the right attitude for this. Yep. So that's how the whole thing with wisdom. Wisdom is very important, but more so important than wisdom on how to promote and market or control your own destiny, you got to have the right attitude. Like, look, I might not know everything, I might not know this, but I'm going to have the right attitude, and I'm going to start at one thing at a time. If I can't master that one thing, how am I supposed to get to 2 and 3?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So sum it up in a nutshell, wisdom comes. It will come when you have the right attitude and you respect the patient part of what you're trying to do in the process of you coming up. Plain and simple.
That's right.
Brilliant. I think that's a great point to leave it at. I think real words of wisdom there, and I'm sure for people watching, it's been really great advice from everyone. I think if you've not got the tools from that to get your career going, then there's something wrong with your approach, I think, because there's some amazing stuff there. But yeah, thanks all so much again for being involved in another Twine Hangout, and there won't be one next Friday, but there will be another one coming soon, so we'll be putting out on social media when that'll be happening and who's involved. So check it out. But
yes, sir. Hey, and I want to thank everybody on there. I didn't meet you personally, but may God bless everybody on here. That your business adventure and everything
Same
that
to
you
you,
guys
man.
got. Your wisdom is very important to everybody out there. And see, it goes back to that promotion and marketing. So I'm going to leave you with this. Make sure everybody go ahead and pick up that new Cocaine album, King of G-Funk, Double L, service to over 137 digital outlets. Make sure you visit Cocaine at BUDEBOYENT store. That's the online store where you can get all the Cocaine collection. You can hear all the hooks that I've done from Dr. Dre to Snoop Dogg to Puffy, therefore. And see, that's just an example, independent. Capture the moment. Speak up for yourself. Ain't nobody else on tune in. There it is there.
I'm going to piggyback that right now. Everyone go check me out, SherrealMartinez.com, at TheRealSherreal on Instagram, at SherrealMartinez on Twitter, and Facebook.com/SherrealMartinezMusic. Mwah.
come on, Bishop.
Dog.
Who's next?
And everybody can just Google me, William Bishop Graves. You'll find me everywhere. All right. There it is.
I like it.
I'll
Calvin?
make mine even simpler. My details will be in the links below.
Reading is fundamental, people.
Brilliant. And I think
Just click, don't think.
to finish up on that, to check out Twine, head to www.twine.fm or check out our apps on iPhone and iPad on the App Store and find the community behind your next creative project, because you never know who you'll meet. We've got over 150,000 artists on there who are waiting to collaborate with you, so don't miss out, because who knows what it could do for your career.
One more thing.
And to finish up, like you said, you can Google me on Feed the Dog or Chaz Goodwin, because I'm everywhere as well. D-O-double-G.
One more quick leak. Y'all be prepared for this this new joint. Salute to you, Cocaine, for the this feature we got going on, man.
Nice
Right
one.
on, man. Right on. And that's one more thing, not to add mustard on the hot dog. If anybody out there needs some of that, here's my chance to make your day, yeah. Most artists in the game. The hook master, you heard?
Nice, guys. Right. Over and out.